In the vast emptiness of space, the stars burned silently, indifferent to the struggles of the living beings beneath them. Among those stars floated the remnants of the Valorian Empire, a proud and ancient civilization that had once dominated half the galaxy. For centuries, the Valorians had stood as the pinnacle of technological achievement and military power, their grand fleets patrolling the stars with authority. Now, they were on the brink of extinction. The invasion had come swiftly and without mercy. The Karn Dominion, a brutal species known for their ruthlessness and insatiable hunger for conquest, attacked with overwhelming force. Entire Valorian fleets were obliterated in mere hours, falling like leaves in a storm. Their advanced defenses crumpled under the relentless onslaught of the Karn's bioengineered weapons. Entire worlds were scorched into ash, and cities that had stood for millennia were reduced to rubble in moments. The once mighty empire had become little more than scattered survivors drifting in space, praying for a miracle. No one had expected the humans to answer their call for help. The United Earth Coalition had always been considered untrustworthy by the Galactic Council. Humans were seen as reckless, impulsive, and above all, traitorous. Their refusal to join the Valorian-led alliance during the Orion Pact summit had sealed their reputation as selfish isolationists. Humanity had chosen independence over unity, leaving them politically isolated. Now, with the Valorians facing annihilation, no one expected Earth to intervene. But then, the humans came. Captain Mara Voss stood on the bridge of the UES Valiant, staring at the holographic display of the shattered Valorian fleet. Her sharp, determined eyes scanned the damage reports. Dozens of ships reduced to floating wrecks, life support failing on most. Without hesitation, she gave her order. "Get us in range. Begin rescue operations immediately." Her crew followed her command with unwavering discipline. Shuttles launched from the Valiant, weaving through the debris field to reach the crippled Valorian ships. The human soldiers worked tirelessly, risking everything to pull survivors from the wreckage. Medics treated the wounded on site, while engineers stabilized failing life support systems. It was dangerous. Every moment spent there increased the risk of a Karn ambush, but humanity had made its choice. Commander Raylan Dor of the Valorian fleet couldn't believe what he was witnessing. From the shattered remains of his command ship, he watched as human vessels risked everything to save his people. When Captain Voss herself arrived aboard his ship, clad in her armored suit, her helmet under one arm, Raylan could only stare at her in disbelief. "Why?" Raylan rasped, his voice weak from injuries and exhaustion. His eyes were hollow, reflecting the despair of a commander who had seen his empire fall. "Why would you help us? You owe us nothing." Mara knelt beside him, swiftly administering a pain suppressant from her medical kit. "Because we remember what it means to stand together," she said firmly, her voice carrying the weight of conviction, "even when others won't." Raylan's face twisted with guilt and confusion. "But we abandoned you. We left Earth to fend for itself during the border wars. You should hate us." Mara gave a grim smile. "Maybe we should, but we're human. And that means we don't leave people behind, even those who once turned their backs on us." The rescue mission was perilous and costly. As human ships pulled Valorian survivors from the wreckage, the dreaded moment arrived. The Karn fleet returned, descending like a swarm of shadows, their ships sleek and menacing. Without hesitation, the humans engaged. The Valiant led the charge, its weapons blazing with fury. Mara's voice echoed across the bridge. "Hold the line. We're buying time for those evac shells." Lasers and missiles filled the void, painting the blackness with bursts of deadly light. The battle was brutal. The Karn ships, more numerous and faster, swarmed the human fleet like predators, sensing weakness. Yet humanity's defenses held strong. Captain Voss knew victory was impossible. They were hopelessly outnumbered. But this fight wasn't about winning. It was about giving the Valorian survivors a chance to escape. Commander Raylan watched from the medical bay, powerless, as human ships fought with a tenacity he had never witnessed before. He saw cruisers deliberately place themselves between Karn weapons and Valorian transports, taking the brunt of the assault to protect strangers they had every reason to abandon. Hours passed, and the battle intensified. One by one, The human ships were torn apart, their burning wreckage drifting silently through the void. Yet they never retreated. Each sacrifice bought precious minutes for evacuation. The Valiant remained the last ship standing, its once pristine hull now cracked and burning, but it still fought, defiant until the very end. The Valorians escaped. When the dust finally settled, the silent void was littered with the debris of human courage. The Karn Dominion, recognizing that the Valorians had slipped through their grasp, withdrew to regroup, leaving behind the devastation they had wrought. Humanity had achieved the impossible. They had saved the Valorian survivors at an enormous cost. Weeks later, aboard a Valorian hospital ship, Commander Raylandor recovered from his injuries. The pain in his body was nothing compared to the weight of guilt crushing his heart. He stood by the observation window, staring out at the endless stars, haunted by the memory of human sacrifice. That humans had every reason to let the Valorians fall, every reason to let them burn. But they didn't. A message arrived, a simple transmission from Earth. The words were brief, but carried immense weight. We did what was right. That's all that matters. The message echoed in Raylan's mind for days. He knew the Valorian Empire would never be the same. They owed humanity a debt that could never be repaid. In the halls of power, among the scattered remnants of the Galactic Council, the story of humanity's sacrifice spread like wildfire. The so-called traitorous humans had become something far greater than anyone had ever imagined. They had become heroes,